This is how they start phase 5? Jesus Christ, Marvel's in trouble. What's up, team? I'm Vogel, and today we're talking about a Marvel film that probably shouldn't exist. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I had the joy of watching this a couple weeks ago and decided I'd make some notes, give it a bit of a review. Basically, just giving a little plot overview, this film starts with the Ant Fam, as I'm going to call them, picks up after the events of Avengers Endgame. We're reintroduced to Scott Lang, who's now a famous writer, apparently, and his daughter Cassie Lang, who is now an adult and also is a different actress. Again, I think this is her third recast at this point, so that's fun. Things happen. Scott's being quite, he's doing book readings, getting free food now because people think he's Spider-Man. I will say a note I made here was genuinely one of my favorite parts of this entire film was when Hope Van Dyne and Cassie in the car. Scott's just picked her up from prison because of youthful protest or something. And they give him shit because he is listening to his own audiobook in the car, and that to me is just great. I love the idea of someone being like, yeah, I'll listen to my own audiobook, look at me, I'm hot shit. I get that. That's the highlight of the film, and that's probably 10 to 20 minutes in. So honestly, I think the second they enter the quantum realm, you could skip the rest of the film, is my personal opinion, but I digress. Cassie apparently, as it turns out, has been working with Hank Pym and Hope on messaging the quantum realm. Turns out that's a super bad idea, and maybe if they'd told Janet Van Dyne, she would have stopped them. So they get sucked into the quantum realm. They basically, Ant-Man, Scott Lang, and Cassie Lang in one place, and the other three in another place. And yep, they got to deal with weird stuff in the quantum realm and Kang the Conqueror. And the Pyms and Hank Pym and the two Van Dynes, they're in a forest and they're hiding from stuff. That's what we know. And then a little bit later, they're just in a desert. They're just in this big fucking forest, and then they're just in a desert randomly. And it's not like a small forest, like a little oasis thing, like in Thor Ragnarok. No, Love and Thunder. It's not like that, but I was like, how did you get from here to here? This desert. There's no like forest on the edge of it. They're just in a desert. And so I'm like, I feel like something was cut there, and I just don't know what that was. Generally, I thought everyone's performance is really good in this. Paul Rudd is always just fun to watch. He, like, even in a bad movie, Paul Rudd will make that movie really good. Michael Douglas just seems to not give a shit and just be like, fuck it, I'm here for the check and I'm living for it. And honestly, I was just enjoying that. My note was literally, Michael Douglas just seems to be living his best life. That being said, best performance in this was Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror. He genuinely was quite terrifying at bits. The way he portrayed Kang was very different to how he was in Loki. He was a lot more menacing and intimidating. Like he's basically like, do this thing for me, alright, kill your daughter, and then I'll kill her again and again because of time travel. I've got powers and stuff. So that was pretty cool. One of the criticisms I had was Hope Van Dyne, Evangeline Lilly, just didn't have anything to do in this film. Like, it's Ant-Man and the Wasp, but really it's Ant-Man Quantumania. Like, the Wasp is a supporting character, which is a shame. I thought she had a lot more to do in Ant-Man and the Wasp. She had much more to do in that. And then Janet Van Dyne just pissed me off. I'd be watching this. I'm knocking my mic. That's how annoyed I am. Janet Van Dyne was just like, she just revealed a tiny bit of information. She's like, hey, it's super dangerous. I'm not going to elaborate on that. And then I'd be like, but could you? Could you just spill the beans? This seems like this would be really useful for everyone to know what the fuck is going on. I found her really annoying. And my only other couple of notes here on the characters and whatnot is it was really nice to see William Jackson Harper. Some of you might know him as Chidi from The Good Place. It was fun seeing him in this, and honestly, with the current state of Marvel, I think being a small cameo in a quantum realm we're probably never going to visit might be the best outcome for you at this point, rather than actually being tied to one of these projects. Finally, I didn't give a fuck about these quantum realm characters. And since the majority of the film takes place there, they really want you to care. You know, they're like, oh, you know, Kang's bad. He's gonna make things bad here. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck about you guys, man. Like, sorry, like, it felt like they were trying to do a weird sci-fi thing that didn't make sense. We'll talk about visual effects. So, I thought, you know, visual effects about what you'd expect from a Marvel film. CGI was fine. I don't tend to notice bad CGI, I think, as much as maybe some other reviewers. It's just whatever. My partner did say, though, while we were watching it, that the quantum realm looked like a free Windows wallpaper, and I 100% agree. It was like real generic background because they're probably using that fancy thing that Disney has, which I don't know what it's called, and I don't particularly care to find out. And MODOK. Some of you, I'm sure, love MODOK. I think my friend is a big fan of MODOK. I thought he was fine in the Avengers game. You know, that game had its problems, but if you want a better portrayal of MODOK, go play that shitty Avengers game on PlayStation, Xbox, rather than watch the movie. The note I literally wrote at the time was, MODOK looks properly shit. Basically, it looked like they took because there's bits where you see his face outside of the suit, and it looks like they just took an actor's face and just stretched it. Like bad Windows PowerPoint presentations where you've just stretched a picture that way rather than actually expanding it the right way. And I was just like, what the fuck is this? I certainly don't want to blame the CGI artists. I honestly think that Disney and Marvel are idiots for thinking that was a good idea to begin with. Like MODOK doesn't seem like a character that really should be in this kind of universe. He seems too weird. And he's apparently not even the right character. Like, he's just MODOK and another character, and they've just gone, done. We've crushed it, boys. Yep, script was fine. It had a bit about Cassie Lang and talking to MODOK, and she's like, just don't be a dick, man. Like, there's a bit too much to talk about dicks. I was like, the fuck is this? If this is Marvel's current state of quips, this isn't great. The only other thing I've written about the script, honestly, it wasn't very memorable, but the only other thing I've written here is the best line in the film to me was, I don't have to win, we both just have to lose. And I thought that was a great line. I really enjoyed that, but it was in the trailer, so I knew it was coming. In terms of world building, I mentioned this earlier, I didn't care about the quantum realm. Like, please don't show me that again, Marvel. I could not give a shit. And I mean, the quantum realm logic doesn't really make any sense in this movie. Liked it in kind of the first two movies where we see glimpses of it and we see like giant little dust mites and stuff like that. And, you know, in other films it seemed like the quantum realm was more like a place where laws of physics don't really apply, which, you know, makes sense. It's probably derived from real world quantum physics where shit doesn't work. I'm sure you guys know about the light particle wave duality concept that you would have learned in high school physics, for instance. You know, quantum physics does weird stuff compared to real world physics. But in this movie, it just was like, hey, let's have weird sci-fi adventures. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I understood how Kang got there. You know, he'd been banished by the other Kangs, and Janet Van Dyne, we obviously know how she got there from the first Ant-Man film. But how did all these other people get there? Like, it doesn't seem like an easy place to get to, so it seemed really weird. So yeah, world building and logic, I didn't buy it in this film. I was like, this just seems to not make any sense. And also, there's bits where we get Giant Man, and I'm like, but if he's giant, wouldn't he just go back to the real world? He's quantum. Wouldn't he just go to a different tier of this quantum thing? Yeah, it was weird. But would I recommend this film? No. This is an entirely skippable movie, and I honestly think Marvel wasted their third Ant-Man film on trying to be like, yeah, let's big set up Phase 5, let's have Kang, fuck yeah, pew 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 pew. I think you could skip this and be fine, and it would have been better if we just had another small stakes Ant-Man heist film, like the last two. You know, people roast Ant-Man and the Wasp, but I enjoyed it. Ant-Man and the Wasp, there's a lot of fun in that. This one, I probably would have just been happier playing, like scrolling through bloody Facebook or something more modern on my phone than watch this. So I gave it a 2.4 out of 5, and the 2.4 seems really weird, but maybe one day I'll explain why 2.4. But basically, this movie is completely forgettable. I'm recording this a few weeks after I watched it, and I know roughly what happened, but honestly, if you ask me to name anything specific or like what was going on, I'm like, I don't know, and I don't give a shit. And that's the problem. I love some of the old Marvel films. I will constantly harp on about how awesome Captain America and the Winter Soldier is. Don't give a fuck about this one. Don't watch it. That's my review. I hope you all enjoyed it. Leave me a comment if you got any thoughts on, you know, if you've seen it, if you've got thoughts, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. I'd love to hear some other takes. I'd love to find someone who genuinely really enjoyed this film, because I'd be interested to find out why. So yeah, if you like that, leave a comment, and also, you know, if you're enjoying the video, maybe drop me a subscribe. I'd love that. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.